Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So we got a great panel here. I will start with a quick introduction of everyone, and maybe then we get into the buzzword. So why don't we start from Jyoti?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone, and it's great to be here and to be a part of this session today. My name is Jyoti Deswal. I am working with Lenovo India from last almost 14 years and managing their large format retail and e-tail business. Happy to be a part of this session once again.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Vinod Kapote. I head IT for Trent, working with Trent for more than 15 years now, and happy to be part of this esteemed panel.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Abhinav Midha. I am Vice President at GoKwik. Been in the retail industry for last almost 17 years. Spent the last 14 years in offline retail. Now the last 3 years in online. So maybe I'll try to explain what Omnichannel is from both perspectives.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anil, CIO for Lulu Group. 2 decades of into retail, both sides of retail, technology and as well as a retailer.
Hi, good afternoon. It's wonderful to be invited for this session. I'm amidst a very interesting group of participants and panelists. Suman, as a moderator, also a pleasure, talking to you. So my name is Vaskar Bhattacharya. I represent a company called Ginesys. So Ginesys has been, I would say, forming the retail tech background for some of the largest brands in India in fashion and lifestyle. So we have been working with brands like Manivers and Sketcher and Mufti and Rare Rabbit and Turtle. So we formed the entire tech background for them, taking care of their inventory to their physical store operations, to their warehouse management, to their omnichannel commerce in entirety. So it's pleasure being here. Thank you.
That's great, and thanks everyone for your quick introduction. It's a pleasure to have all of you in the panel. I lead in Reliance FNL and Beauty as a CPTO. It's a fun to talk about this omnichannel as a topic. So let's start with the topic itself. I think there was enough, nutshell capture on why omnichannel is a buzzword or not. So why don't we quickly define omnichannel? And I know we all have our own version of truth. So we'll try to take maybe 2 of you. Maybe Anil, you and Vinod can touch on what is omnichannel in your view and how that has evolved in the last, since COVID time versus now. I think that we start with that and then we start to get into more deeper questions.
Okay. Go ahead. So very relevant first thing, define omnichannel. So each one of us will have a different version to it. Our version should be very clear. It's just being available for the customer when they want it, where they want it. Simple as that. That's the definition. And I think from where it was and where it is now, quite a evolution which gone there, right? When COVID came in, we all are not prepared something for this buzzword called as omnichannel. We had our own 2 channels, 1 channel, whichever you call about it. But today, omnichannel has been imperative to be. They are. If you are not omnichannel, you are lacking somewhere. You are not in the game.
So, Suman, omnichannel, I think definition and the buzzword is like, this buzzword has been going on for quite some time, right? I mean, even before COVID, people used to be having a lot of pride saying, I'm an omnichannel retailer. There are software providers saying, I'm omnichannel software provider and all of that. COVID has really changed the game for everyone. What has happened essentially is people have realized that you have to look at your customer irrespective of the channel that he or she is coming from in a unified manner. And that, I think, is a simple definition of omnichannel. There are multiple ways of saying and looking at omnichannel strategies and multiple areas of work to focus on. But looking at your customer as a single unified view is the simplest of the definitions for omnichannel that I would probably bring in. And in terms of what COVID did to everyone is like a forced digital adoption that it has created for everyone. Today, in today's world, anyone saying that I am not available digitally for a customer, forget not necessarily on e-commerce, but at least for a catalog view to a customer, then you're missing out.
Absolutely, and that's really rightly put. And omnichannel, I mean, the way I look at it, at least in 2024 and onwards, it's a hygiene, right? I mean, every area needs hygiene, so omnichannel is hygiene.
Yes.
Without hygiene, you cannot do business, right?
Correct.
And I don't think any business is there who is not leveraging omnichannel. So it's really rightly put, and I think really love the fact that how you both touched on how it evolved, and I think the fact of single view of customer, which is the foundation of omnichannel, I think is a real, and we would like to get into that in more detail, and how, let's say, Trent is doing it and others are doing it, which is going to give the audience a lot of understanding of the use cases. So we'll go to Jyoti and try to get the next layer of the omnichannel. So what are the key challenges retailer face when implementing omnichannel? I know you have done that in Lenovo successfully. So if you can touch on those, I think it will help kind of peel the onion further.
Sure, Suman. And before I come to the question, am I audible? Yeah. So before I come to the key question of the challenges what we have faced while implementing the omni-channel strategies, I think, just to add on to the first question, right, the omni-channel has now become the omni-experience, right, because, channel is one part and which is more internal to the organization, right? We define that this is our retail channel, this is our general trade channel, or this is our modern trade channel. For the customer, it's brand and the product is what he's looking at, right? So whichever channel he goes to, it should ultimately results into an omni experience for the customer, right? And managing that omni experience at all the touch points where the customer is coming and interacting with the brand or with the retailer is not an easy job, right? So though implementing omni-channel has come with, multiple benefits for the brand, for the customer, for the retailers, but I think the challenges that have come into the place while implementing those strategies have also been at another level, right? First and foremost, like if I have to tell you, Lenovo in fact was the first PC brand to implement omni-channel during the COVID time frame. And what we realized when we have a network of stores, almost 500 stores, right? And these are all franchisee stores. Everybody working in silos, right? They have their own, systems. They have their own software. So when we had to get into the omni-channel way of working, we had to integrate all those 500 stores to Lenovo.com, right? So this whole system integration itself was a big, big task. And nobody really want to invest in technology, right? So, putting everybody together, talking to them, saying that how it is going to help everyone, convincing people to invest in technology and then integrate their system to come on board was a big challenge, right? Apart from this, the other challenge was the security, the customer data and the security, privacy, right? Everybody was, a bit skeptical that if I am coming on board with you, you will take my data. Ultimately, the data is it's a gold mine and nobody wanted to share their data. So that was another challenge that we faced, while getting the retailers on board with Lenovo.com, right? And inventory is another thing. Updating inventory on a real-time basis was a big task that we are still facing, in fact. We have still not reached to the 100% level. So these are the key 2 or 3 challenges that we faced while implementing the omni-channel strategies in Lenovo.
Sure, no,
If I can,
if you can add further.
Yeah, if I can just add to it, I mean, we will talk from not theory, but our experiences with our over 1,500 clients that we are, lifestyle brands that we are working with. So the biggest challenge that we have seen our, the early adopters of omnichannel in India face are related to tech. Now, when we talk about an omnichannel ecosystem, we are talking about a discrete ecosystem of inventory, stock points, and customer experience points, right? So most of these players, when they wanted to go omnichannel or before that go multi-channel, they were sourcing different technology stacks from different providers and trying to loosely integrate with them. So there was major concerns around data coherence, seamless transfer of information from one system to the other, and a seamless process completion and customer experience paradigm that was not getting created. So this is where we also came in the fray, and we, stood ahead of others, that we were able to provide a tech paradigm, a platform, which can automate their entire retail spectrum of operations, starting from inwarding of material to providing a satisfactory customer journey across multiple channels, absolutely seamless fulfillment strategies, and post-sale experiences. So this is what we are able to address. So tech channel, multiple discrete transactional solution stacks, these were the main challenges. The second challenge that we saw was people. The retail industry as it is probably was not as evolved as, say, for example, a manufacturing industry. So the processes were rudimentary, people were untrained, right? The store managers have a different paradigm of making stores profitable, driving more revenue from the stores. The people who are driving online commerce from warehouses, they had a different perspective. So there was no coherence in operations. There were no standard SOPs drawn out. So when we moved in, we saw that people and processes and SOPs and methods of doing omnichannel was a challenge for them.
Makes sense. Anyone else want to add? Abhinav?
Yeah, I would just say, I think they've defined omni-channel fairly well, right? In today's time, businesses want to be wherever the customer thinks it should be, right? We started off with, let's say, offline retail, then we said marketplaces, then we said own websites. Now we have the likes of Zepto, grocery, right? So now I think businesses have evolved far more. I think, some of these habits have been created by us. The customers never expected delivery in 15 minutes. We said we can give it to you. The customer said yes. So we've created a lot of these problems, and now we are actually working backwards on solving them. I think that's how I look at omnichannel, right?
Absolutely. No, very rightly put.
Just to add that,
Yeah.
from a retailer perspective, we struggle heavily with legacy systems. And trying to marry a Ferrari to a Maruti was the biggest problem statement. So what we try to do is we brought in a lot of tech in between. And today, as I rightly said, and the points where I wanted to take a leaf from there, is we are now trying to undo everything and try to make it more seamless for us. Because while COVID came in, we were driving a Maruti. Suddenly everyone wanted a Ferrari. We push in whatever could be done into it.
Very, very rightly and well rounded, I think. And I think some of these challenges, I was just hearing you and kind of thinking back from our own journey. I think the very challenge you rightly mentioned, I think the people, the challenge of transformation, right? And I think the inertia, the whole inertia, which is driving the omnichannel, is ultimately all led by business goals. Personalization, hyper-personalization, going back to what Vinod was saying earlier, I think kind of having the unified view, the reason for the reasons, right? And the reason, if you just boil down to the reason, one of them really clearly is personalization, which is really driving omnichannel. Because today, the touch points are so seamlessly connected, I don't think the users are even thinking I'm online or am I doing anything in store. Yeah. Very seamless in that sense, right? Some of the brands are doing it fantastically. So it's an open question for all of you. Any of you can take this. So one of the things which I am interested to understand, like especially, let's talk about the inertias. You can pick up any use cases. You can talk about personalized shopping. You can talk about anything you think, which your brands have done well in omnichannel. But let's talk about one or two inertia points, which are use cases, so the audience can also relate back how it can be usefully driving a business goal, right, for the end user. I'm just thinking more from the B2C user standpoint, right? Because so far we have talked about system and technology and the key challenges. But let's touch on the inertias. So Vinod, you would like to take it?
Yeah. So we have always been a large offline retailer to start with, right? I mean, Westside is there since 25 years now. Zudio is there for almost 7-8 years now, since 2016. With us, when we started this journey way back, actually with Tata Click in 2016, it was a very different inertia to deal with. Right? We were quite happy with what stores we were opening. We were quite happy with what we were doing in our brands, and we're okay with what was the outcome that were coming out. But once we got into this bandwagon to understand how to deal with the customer who's visiting you through multiple channels. It's not just the offline channel, but multiple channels, including the website that Tata Click, where we were one of the sellers, and the experience of multi-brand for the customer along with us together in one single window. That really changed the understanding and the push to make sure that how can I get more of that customer to me rather than anyone else. And that is where was the trigger point. We realized that we need to find ways and means on how do I make my customer happy and keep the brand ethos as is and do what was expected. So as Anil mentioned, I mean, the legacy system had to change. We had to go through multiple back-end systems change, multiple applications that were obsolete to be changed and updated. So we went ahead and created a digital core for ourselves now. We've gone ahead and changed my old POS to the ETP POS that we have rolled out very, very quickly. So there's a lot of change that we had to do to get that momentum and inertia that we were looking for, and get out of the inertia, frankly, and eventually be on that journey where everyone else is. Otherwise, the fear of missing out onto it and eventually the customer not experiencing it because she will find it somewhere else is going to hurt your business. It's not necessary that she's going to be around you just being loyal, because loyalty, whatever said and done, is a point in time, or I personally feel it's a myth, but it's a point in time behavior. So she has to get connected to the brand. She has to feel that the brand is offering her something which probably someone else is not offering her to, in addition to the product and everything else, which has to be right.
So if
Can I add to this?
Yeah, if you can.
So when we're talking about triggers and inertia for looking at omnichannel for a retailer, so it means different things to different forms of retailers. So I'll give you an example. So we have a D2C customer, Berilush. So they were a digital first customer who are now trying to get into multi-modes of commerce, including physical commerce. And then we have another customer, which is V-Mart, which is a large format multi-brand outlet, having stores ranging from 40,000 to 1 lakh square feet. For them, it was coming down from physical commerce, retail, to getting into a omnichannel mode, right? So for V-Mart, they were trying to devise strategies to bring back their customers to their stores more and more. They were also trying to understand the personalized preferences of individual customers or cohorts of customers. And then suddenly realized that a lot of their consumers had footprints across multiple channels of commerce. So if they have to have a unified and a holistic view of their consumer behavior, they cannot just depend on the data silos which are available from the physical retail part. So they started leveraging other modes of retail, including the online commerce part. Similarly, for Berilush, it's the other way around now that they're opening physical stores. So the needs and the triggers of each retailer will be unique and will have to be addressed in a unique way.
Suman, if I may
Jyoti,
just add
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah. See, in today's world, it's very easy to replicate what product you are selling, what service you are offering. You can match the pricing, right? But the only thing where you can differentiate yourself from the others is the customer experience that you are providing, right? Whether it was before COVID or before Omnichannel, we all, as businessmen, we knew that we have to give the unified experience to the customer, but nobody knew how. And even if we, let's say, analyze and we came up with a strategy that this is how we can do it, the inertia was so high to change the existing set of processes and getting something new that nobody was really ready for it, right? And that's, I can say COVID was no good to anyone, but at least for some part of the adoption and the changes, it has really bring in good practices in the business, right? So what used to happen even on Lenovo, for that matter, we used to offer a different product and offerings on Lenovo.com than to our store. When the customer used to come to Lenovo.com, different product, different pricing, than to our own exclusive stores, right? So this is where we were losing the customer. Right? And we all talk about customer experience, but it was going for a toss, right? And that's the changes that we have seen in last few years. And the brands who are going to keep the customer delightful, give better experience, I think are going to win. It's not the product or the pricing which is going to give the winning streak to the organization or to the brands than this.
Fantastic. If I can build on top, how important, because I think you guys touched on a very important points here, right? On personalization and I think the inertia. How important it is to have real-time visibility of your inventory, especially when you are operating across many stores. I think you touched on the price points and all of that. When you're trying to, because ultimately you want your customer to have a seamless experience, right? I think this was also the original definition when we went back. So how important this whole inventory visibility becomes, right? And how do you deal with it? Like, what do you do, right? I would like to understand both the provider view and also some of the retailers sitting here, both the views, so that we can build a perspective. I think it's very key. Otherwise, we are just loosely, because personalization means many things for many ways of looking at it, right?
Yeah, so I'll just add here, right? So from a consumer perspective, let's just look at it. Consumers expect that everything available on your website or whatever they want to buy at your store is available in all shapes, sizes, etc. whenever they go, right? Moment there is anything which is not available, you're losing a customer, not great customer experience, right? So hence from that perspective, it is the most important solution that to build for, that we all should have, the inventory actually exactly updated real time, solve these problems from multiple angles, right? So for example, there is, especially for brands who started online first, right? They had it little easy, right? Because they've just built one single warehouse. They've have full view of the inventory. Technology came to them first, then to the other brands who had already built a large network of stores, and then trying to solve for that whether I pick it up from my store or pick it up from my warehouse, it's a big challenge to solve. So D2C brands have actually, who started digital first, I believe have an advantage today, right? Because they started with tech first. They are now solving everything with tech. Whereas some of these inventory issues, which are very predominantly what we see, right, working with multiple brands, all the brands who have large stores, right, they're somehow lost in the discussion of whether I pick up from the store, whether I pick up from the inventory. They're not able to show customers right delivery timelines, right? One important aspect of everybody's sales, especially online, if you're not able to show the customer that I'm going to deliver to you in 1 day or 3 days, it doesn't work, right? You will have a lot of returns, orders might get reduced. So I think having this seamlessness is very, very important. And I don't know if there's one solution for all, because the kind of brands that are at least sitting here, they have all such deep nuances to each of their goal. I think everybody to his own, from my perspective. Yeah.
Right.
Can we get more?
Yeah, can I just add to it? So he actually, my previous speaker actually he hit the nail on the head. Basically, inventory optimization and having a live view of inventory is like oxygen for retail. You cannot do without it, right? Especially in a true omni scenario. And if you wish to, dish out superior customer experience. Now, he talked about large format stores struggling with that, right? So here's a live example of a client of ours, VMart. They have 1,700 odd stores, very large format stores. And what we have rolled out live sync of inventory across various stock points for them, across various channels for them at any given point in time. So what it has done, it has significantly brought down, it has exposed, inventory across multiple locations of SKUs running into lakhs. Plus, it has significantly, to the tune of low single-digit numbers, they have brought down returns and cancellations. Even the, delivery projections, the delivery time projections have improved significantly. So, if you are doing it on a coherent stack, a seamlessly integrated stack, a large format store has the advantages of extending more customer benefits, right?
So I have also a point of view with how retailers look at it, frankly. Especially with us, we are a fashion apparel retailer, right? In our stores, it will be criminal to have 10, 15 quantities of a particular SKU in a color size combination that we would want to probably have it. So while seamless integration of inventory and bringing inventory together is a given, that has to be there. what is also important in addition to that is the processes beyond that. Like he just now mentioned that, okay, there are multiple stores inventory that I can bring together and show to my customer. But eventually the order is not going to get allocated like that, right? The order is going to a particular store eventually, which is the closest to the customer, which probably is the most logical grouping that I can do with a supply chain perspective to reduce the cost and everything together. And if that is going to happen, if I have only 2 quantities left in that store and I'm assigning one, and because the inventory is never 100% accurate in a system compared to a physical one, the problems actually start after the integration. Right? Because you've brought everything together as per the system, and then you realize that, okay, this quantity is not available, this probably has to have some follow-up process, and that is where the winning actually will happen. Because if you have a process to make sure that your orders hop correctly, your allocation happens correctly, you are able to fulfill still even after doing all the juggleries that you want to do with your system to allocate the right quantity to the right customer and eventually deliver on time, that is where winning the customer will happen.
Correct.
So that's a very follow-up process that needs to be in place.
Sure. Due to time check, if I can, can go fast.
But rightly said, while you're saying inventory visibility, it is just not showing a number to someone. It is actually making sure your processes are rewritten, right? And as rightly said, system stocks are never right. But like the way you go back and listen to your customer and then you start making the right product, right stuff and all that, process need to be reviewed on a continuous basis for the inventory to be, I'll not say everyone is showing right, but as small as the variance can be, right? I think the process improvement is a key to any transparency across the systems.
I think all great points, and I think we are coming at a very dead end of this very interesting conversation. So how does the future look like? I think we talked about now and present and all of this. I think the future is what is very important for us to, something to give back to this audience. So how does the foreseeable future look like in Omnichannel, in each of your world? If you can try to summarize in 30 seconds, I like to double click in each of you. If you can share, how does the future look like?
As far as we are concerned, we see the biggest disruptor to be quick commerce, right? Right now, I mean, it will go beyond these, food deliveries and, the blinkets. It will start impacting and disrupting real retail commerce in a big way going forward. That is one area that is going to get impacted. Second, I think one puzzle that a lot of retailers are trying to fix is the franchisee automation in bringing the franchisee model in place as far as Omnichannel is concerned. So technologies will come forward in terms of solving that puzzle of how to bring them into the benefit system. Yeah.
So I think just one quick on commerce for sure. One is more collaboration between the ecosystems. That's going to be the key next.
I generally look at, I think the whole retail landscape the next 5-10 years completely changes. I think all the traditional players who've not been able to adapt to technology and not been able to adapt to this complexity that we're talking about today will evolve, and the younger ones which have just started to crop up, right, I think they will take their places in the retail landscape. I see that completely changing in the next 5 years.
Sure. Vinod?
In my view, I think the customer-facing technologies are more or less reached where they probably would want to reach. Yes, there will be some innovations here and there, but they're not going to be like a huge change. It will always be delta there. But where the innovations and investments are expected to happen is the back-end part of it, where there's a lot of work that still needs to happen, and there is probably going to be a very large amount of delta that can be derived there.
Jyoti?
I see the time, it's only 20 seconds left, so I'll be really quick. I guess whether it is social commerce or quick commerce or omni-channel, the tech will play a larger role, right? And I see AI and machine learning is going to take over most of the operational part, and that's where the real investment is going to happen, right?
Sure, excellent. I think we are right on time, and we'll probably wrap it here. I think really, if I have to just drop 3 key takeaways, I think the challenges were really the highlight of this session. You all defined the journeys extremely well. And if I can just add to it, I think the foreseeable future, the way I see it, I think AR, VR and Zen AI, which will fundamentally support the back-end infrastructure, which you rightly said. Because already we are living in that world. I think users are already using it. The foundational infrastructure will turn to become Zen AI. And I think that's what the Omnichannel, like you rightly put, is going to be ahead, right? With that, thanks to all of you for answering this. It has been a pleasure talking to all of you and hosting you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.